Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We've just finished 3 days of executive board and council meetings here in Tokyo. World Athletics has continued to push forward its innovation and growth agenda. The details are all outlined in a press release that we issued about 15 minutes ago. So I will now pass on the floor to the World Athletics president, Sebastian Coe, who will run you through a few of what's happened and updates on the last few days. We'll then open the floor to questions. Seb, go ahead.
Maggie, thank you, and good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us. I am also acutely conscious some of you may be in anti-social time zones, so thank you also for making the effort. As Maggie said, we've just completed 3 very productive days here in Tokyo, where the Executive Board and the World Athletics Council have made a number of decisions. And these decisions have really ostensibly been focused on growth, innovation and prioritization. And look, in simple terms, they're all aimed at future-proofing our sport for years to come and a fresh generation of athletes. These themes will continue and be central to the convention and the Congress here again in Tokyo, scheduled for the 11th and 12th of September. And this is an exciting time for World Athletics. We're a high-performing organization on a growth trajectory. That's not a wish or a vision. It is actually reality. And in order to maintain that trajectory, we need to continue to build scalable systems and strategies to sustain that growth far into the future. It's why we have a 4-year business strategy and an 8-year world plan, and to the purpose of ensuring that we focus on our short-term and also our long-term goals. At the end of 25 will mark the halfway point for the business strategy, which we have called Pioneering Change, and that's exactly what we're doing. So laying the foundation for this change and growth are 5 really important and core components. Obviously, overriding almost everything, because our ability to do this is predicated on our financial position, which I have to say is strong. Our revenues have increased some 38% since 2018. Clearly a strong brand identity that is closely linked to trust and integrity, a people strategy, having the right people in place with the mindset and the resilience to see this growth trajectory through. Excellent communications, communicating liberally. I hope that's not a particularly complex concept for those of you here with us tonight, but also communicating liberally through good and bad times. And of course, transparency. All of which I'm delighted to say World Athletics now has. Our challenge really isn't a lack of ambition, it never really has been. It's about how we adapt to make the kind of decisions that lead to meaningful and sustainable growth. And it's a growth journey that will only speed up, particularly over the next 2 years. Illustrating this strategy is probably best exemplified by the work that we have done around the World Athletics Ultimate Championship that will be launched in Budapest in 2026, next year, and really has been developed to really tap into 2 really important concepts. The first is that we ensure now that every athletics season culminates with a major global championship. That is our opportunity over the competitive year to guarantee 1 billion eyeballs on our sport. And a championship that has real meaning for our partners, our stakeholders, in this case, meaning for our fans, obviously our athletes, our media and our broadcasters. We're also continuing to cement our place as leaders in international sport, and particularly in thought leadership, never shying away from making the sometimes tough but necessary decisions for the well-being and integrity of our sport. On this theme, the World Athletics Council has updated on the progress regarding our SRY testing and those regulations for the eligibility in the female category or female athlete category testing, FACT, as we refer to it. Over 95% of testing is now complete, with the remainder of tests, the French team, the Norwegian team, and some athletes based in France, being done here in Tokyo ahead of competition starting later this week. I have to say this has been a successful whole sport response to a principle that we all fundamentally believe in, which is to protect, preserve and promote the female category. I'd like to really place on record my thanks to our member federations and our area associations, and particularly our athletes, for all their hard work, their cooperation, and really just their ongoing support for this process. We will now gather feedback from the World Athletics Championships. This is a great platform for us to be able to do that, to determine the testing processes and priorities for 2026 onwards. Other council news, a number of competition decisions were made, always with the aim of the ambition of polishing and refining our events. Changes to the world ranking system to make sure the system was more balanced between the various levels of competition. The introduction of a fixed running order of man, woman for the 4 by 100 meter mixed relay, and to use this format starting in 2026 for the World Relays in Gaborone in Botswana. A new race format for the indoor 400 meters will see the number of athletes per heat reduced from 6 to 4, leaving lanes 1 and 2 empty. This is really in response to their inherent disadvantage on tight indoor curves. The main goal is, again, clear. It's to increase participation, ensure fair racing, and to enhance the athlete and, of course, the spectator experience. A new break point for the indoor 800 meters gives athletes more time and space to spread out, providing a safer racing environment. They will use the same break point as the 400 meter athletes, which, of course, is located around the entrance to the home straight, roughly 165 meters from the start. Finally, the qualification systems were approved for our World Athletics Indoor Championships, our World Athletics Relays, and our World Athletics Under-20 Championships in Oregon in August of 26. More details will follow, and updates will be included in the press release, which I understand, Maggie, is now just gone to press. So again, thank you very much for joining us, and I'm, of course, very happy to take any questions that you might have. Back to you, Maggie.
Thanks, Seb. We can now open the floor to questions. Please use the raise hand function in the Zoom chat. If you'd like to ask a question, let us know your name and outlet, and we'll get to as many of you as we can. Tracy, go ahead. We can start with you. Tracy, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Tracy Holmes from the Sports Ambassador podcast in Australia. My question is about the women's classification, and I'm just wondering if you've heard back from any athletes about concerns over privacy, because I know this is one of the issues they're facing in world boxing at the moment, and what commitments you have given to those medical records and them being kept private in any instance.
Actually, Tracy, thanks. And yeah, Tracy, thank you. And rarely have I experienced you being on mute, but there's always a first for everything. Look, I'm actually comforted that thus far we haven't. And I think it's because of the very nature and clarity around the testing and the processes. Our medical delegate is the only one that will see the test. If there is anything to be followed up on, they will follow it up directly with the athlete. We're not testing for anything other than the eligibility or otherwise of that athlete. There's no DNA testing, there's no genetic testing. That is simply what we're looking for. It's a one-off test, and once that has been done, that's it. And as and when the information that we glean is deemed useful and absorbed, it is then destroyed. So I don't think we could. We've followed this very, very closely. We've done this to the highest and accepted standards of international medical practice. And look, I think we're in pretty good shape. But of course, if athletes individually had any concerns, we would want to reassure them that we've taken a lot of effort to make sure that those security issues are absolutely followed through.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Wakako Yuki.
Unmute. Thank you indeed for this opportunity. Just quick follow-up to Tracy, as well as one other question, if I may. In a sense, of course, if you introduce new system, always there is a learning things that you would be able to come up with. And what are the positive and negative that you've learned from introducing this SRI test, or FACE, you would put it? And if you would be asked to give advice to, for instance, other entities such as the IOC, which just announced creating working groups on this theme as well. What are the things that you might be able to give? Another one, if I may, you've been saying that this World Championships is one of the things that Tokyo Games during the COVID-19 couldn't have spectators, and athlete couldn't have that experience neither. What are the things that you would like to give to the message to Japanese citizens and fans now that indeed the world is getting together again in Tokyo? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take your last point first, because we are here for a championships, and that's really where our priority sits. Look, my message is one of an overwhelming thank you. As you know, we were the first international federation to come to Tokyo once the games, or the delay to the games, was announced. We felt it was very, very important. And the message on that occasion was, we take your concerns very seriously. Other sporting organizations, I think, were a little aloof about recognizing some of the challenges at community level. Both myself and our CEO, John Ridgen, made that trip. And in 2021, at the time of the Games, I also made the commitment to Governor Koike that we would, when possible, obviously with the agreement of the council and our evaluation teams, love to be in that stadium. It was a fabulous stadium. It is a fabulous stadium. It was sadly denied passionate, informed fans at the time of the Games. And so all I can say is it's a huge thank you to the resilience of the people, the political leadership, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and all the municipal authorities that have been such a part of our ability to deliver, and my council helping deliver on that commitment. Let me go back to your first point, positives and negatives. Look, I don't tend to look at it in those terms, if I'm being blunt here. You know, we followed through on a very, very clear principle that, and this is not a new principle. The decision to introduce SRY testing, or at the time we were still in that consultation phase, was made back in March in Nanjing at the time of the World Indoor Championships. And you have all heard me talking about the sacrosanct nature of women's sport and the preservation of that concept. So for us, I suppose if there is a very strong positive, it is that everybody has worked tirelessly to help us do this. We've had very little discussion about why we're doing it, other than an absolute recognition that it is an important staging post in that commitment to women's sport. I'm not here to give advice to other international federations or even the International Olympic Committee, although the working group that is being set up by the new president, I'm delighted that I've had input into, and World Athletics will be represented around that table. And that comforts me, because we have led the way on pretty much all these issues. And that's a good place to be. So look, we will continue to do this. The World Championships is a very, very good platform for us to understand more about what the future of this testing looks like, because although it's a one-off test, we do have new generations of athletes coming through. So look, as we always do in everything we do, we will sit and reflect on what we've learned in the last few weeks and deliver over the coming years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wakako. Hiroki Toda, next, please.
Hi, President. Thank you for this opportunity. I hope you are enjoying your time in Tokyo. My question is about the calendar for the road events. So during the council, was there any discussion or maybe consultation about moving marathons or race walk to other times of the year, or maybe a specific city? And if so, what will be the hurdles to move those events from current World Championships? Thank you.
Thank you. Look, I don't think it's any great secret. We do have some heat challenges in Tokyo. We had them actually at the time of the Games in 2021. I'm very proud to be able to say with full justification that we have the most accomplished and the most capable health and science team in any international sport, and frankly, any sporting organization. That shouldn't come as a surprise, because we have been dealing with some of these challenges for a long time. The executive board did discuss some of these issues, but more generically around the risk register going forward. Some of you have heard me talk about the challenges of climate change. These are not transient, they're here to stay. Governments have not stepped up to the plate, and sport is going to have to take some unilateral judgments and decisions here. And we have reflected in the past, if we are committed to athlete welfare, then we should probably be openly committed to that. And I cannot see that collectively international sport isn't going to, sooner rather than later, I hope, revisit collectively what the global calendar looks like. Because if we are committed to athlete welfare, then it is inevitable that we are going to have to stage some of our endurance-based events, maybe at times of the year that are going to give optimum chances for the athletes and not leave them, in a health or a performance deficit. So insofar as these are ongoing judgments, but what I can say is that we have the right people in place in Tokyo and the right discussions taking place if we had to make any adjustments to the timetable in advance of those scheduled events because of these conditions.
Sorry, just to follow up. So is there any specific timeline or maybe plan that you might discuss this further? like maybe next year or 2 years after?
No, these are ongoing discussions, and look, they're multifaceted because it's not just about moving one piece of the jigsaw to another part of the year. You know, we are a 12-month of the year sport. We are always looking to extend our season. We have too short a season, particularly around track. So there may be, within the challenge, there may be some opportunities to extend the length of our season, particularly into other hemispheres and other climes at different times of the year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hiroki. Johannes, next, please.
Good evening, Johannes Knut from Süddeutsche Zeitung Munich. One question, I'm sorry, I have to follow up on the gene testing yet again. Siko, you have mentioned that World Athletics has been very generous in terms of testing national federations even past the September 1st deadline if when there were problems. However, there have also been, when you look at World Boxing, there have been suggestions that we're well aware that certain national countries have laws that are in conflict with a World Athletics policy. You're able to facilitate that for now, but I'm just wondering for future, for instance, when France or other countries which have stricter regulations, if they want to host World Athletics events, do you see any problem with that? Could there be conflicts of interest, or just conflicts with their national law when they want to host such World Athletics events, or do you think that can be worked out as well?
No, we work our way through these things, and look, we are always cognizant of national law, and we work within that framework. We work within that framework around safeguarding. We work within that framework, of course, around our anti-doping rules and regulations, and I see no difference here. And yeah, some nations will have national laws in place. But actually, on this occasion where we've actually managed to work our way around those in a sensible and a constructive way, particularly with the member federation. So, you know, the very fact that I'm able pretty much to say to you that 95% of our testing has already been done within touching distance of the championships tells me that these are workable situations. But look, you know, yeah, there will always be challenges, but I guess, you know, we'd all be bedridden if we didn't want to accept some of them.
Thanks, Johannes. Andrew McCurdy, please. Andrew, I'm not sure if you can hear us. You're on mute. Andrew, we can't hear you. That concludes the first round of questions. Did anybody have any follow-up questions? It doesn't appear so. So thank you for that said. We now have 2 days of convention and congress on 11th and 12th September, where the central themes of innovation it will still be central. If you'd like to follow the Congress, please follow the instructions at the bottom of today's press release for the Council. It tells you where to write to apply to be able to follow the Congress. Thank you very much, everyone, and look forward to seeing you in a few days.
Maggie, thank you. And thank you again for making the effort to join us. And I too look forward to seeing you over the course of the next few days. Enjoy what is left of your day. Large amounts or small amounts. Thank you.